Happy Tuesday! No morning vlog today. This is an afternoon vlog, and I'm just warming up. I'm getting back. Let me get my fake fireplace here. I'm just getting back from the gun range where I did my qualification for my third concealed carry weapon in Sonoma County, California, where I've gone through the process, and please check out the video where I highlight the requirements and the steps that you need to go through, money-wise too, to be able to have a concealed carry permit. And the Supreme Court ruled in June that the right to bear arms shall not be infringed and must be upheld. And I've gone down the road of saying, if you don't like guns, tell that, number one, tell it to the bad guys, and number two, change the Constitution of the United States. Don't say it can't do it. It's been done before. All right. Amendments to the Constitution have been passed. I'm not going to go down that line today because it's a fruitless argument, because I live in the real world. I don't live in an idealized world where if I think I lay my weapon down, that everybody else is going to do the same. Whether you're a thug or not, we'll just start to use karate, right, when we want to rob a bank or do something like that. No. That's not the way society's working. And going through 2023 and 2024, I haven't done videos because I'm not, I've hinted about it, I've talked about it, but I'm a happy YouTuber, right? I like to talk about happy and fun things on the channel. But you'd have to have your head in the sand to understand and not see, or misunderstand and not see, that the stresses in society are building up to what I would call some sort of titanic earthquake here in the future. Simply put, too many people, finite amount of resources, governments that can't say no, people that have unlimited wants and now needs from the government. It's not a happy brew. Okay, it's going to lead to more social upheaval. And, well, why do I need it now? Why do I want the three weapons? Because, well, number one, I can get them and I can have them. That's number one. I'm allowed to have them. And I'll exercise my right to have them. Number two, when things become visible enough that the average citizen in this country is aware that there's a really serious problem and the streets are not safe. Okay, they're not as safe as they used to be, for sure. We know that. We got people walking around, bottle rocket heads full of crack and meth and things that aren't even perceiving the world, right, like other people. And people get assaulted, people get threatened, people have psychotic breaks. They just, they don't even know who they are, what planet that they're on. Okay, or opportunists, because of economic desire or whatever, shortcut their way to riches. Let's go rob a bank or something. We know the incidents of smash and grabs and other things. The potential for you coming face to face with somebody that is wielding a firearm and not a good guy is not declining. It's rising. And because it's rising, I feel it's important for me, for self-preservation, and I need to rise to and be capable and prepared to defend myself when and if the need arises. Does that mean I interject myself into situations? No. A concealed carry permit doesn't make you a police officer, doesn't make you a law enforcement officer of any kind. Truth be told, any citizen is empowered to make an arrest, right, if somebody's committing a crime, but you might have a difficult time apprehending the criminal. But for my part, it's just a realization that I live in the real world. And as I said, when it becomes apparent to people that more and more things are happening, and the society's beset by more and more violence, and we have the breakdown and de-evolution of society. And the vandals and the bandits and the Visigoths and the barbarians are rising, which they are. It may very well not be a time of great mercies, okay? You may say, well, bring it on. I don't want to be in that kind of world. Well, I live in the world. I'm transgendered, so I need to take a little bit of extra care with myself. I do care. I do care about defending myself and potentially defending somebody else who is in danger, imminent danger of losing his or her life. Rosie, you're a realist. Yes. I'm realistic. I'm not idealistic. I could wish that there were no guns in the world. Ain't going to happen. All right. Given that, where do we go from here? Well, I thought to myself, when things become obvious to everybody, we have a situation where we have like a tidal wave of demand all of a sudden. Everybody thinks to themselves, man, I better have something for home. Yeah, maybe I should have a concealed carry and carry a little piece with me, just a little extra security, whatever. I'll be trained on it. I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. I'll go through all the process. But you got to understand, there's a huge bottleneck that's going to develop. There's people that are equipped to train you, certify you, pass that information on to your county or whatever, and issue you a concealed carry weapons permit. There's not a lot of them. Okay. They can only handle so many people within a span of control, particularly when you get out on a gun range, where they have no idea the level of expertise or lack of expertise that they're going to be seeing out there. And they have somebody that just doesn't understand, just turning, talking to people. They have all kinds of dangerous practices. Doesn't know how to change out a magazine on a weapon. Doesn't know how to engage the safety. Doesn't know how to clear a jam, a stovepipe jam in a weapon. Generally, at that point in time, they become an extreme threat, not only to others, to themselves. So there's going to be, as there is now in this county, because the Supreme Court of the United States said the right to bear arms shall not be abridged, and you must issue a permit unless there's a valid and reasonable cause not to. You can't have a criminal record, and you need to demonstrate proficiency in firearm safety and accuracy. And you need to pay some money. Okay, so all this is just a way to tell you that if you wait till you really think that you need something, you're going to be amongst millions of people that have the same idea. And you're going to have limitations just like we had in 2020 during the pandemic, Floyd riots. Everybody and his mother was clearing out the ammo. No, there's no Glocks. There's nothing. I remember we went into the gun store here locally, and there wasn't anything available. Just some old antiques that people put on consignment, old Colts, old West revolvers and stuff. Not something I recommend that you carry. You may not even get it out of your holster, right? with the barrels. I always like to be ahead of the curve. And you know what makes me more comfortable is the knowledge of the fact that weapons never decrease in price. They become more expensive to manufacture. They're subject to the forces of inflation, of material costs, of cost of ammunition, and all that kind of stuff. So your ability to own one starts to be constricted in the future at the very time when you need to avail yourself of the opportunity to have some protection. For the average homeowner in this country, I would strongly suggest to have a pistol or a revolver. Go out on the range, get some instruction, and then understand how to use it if the need arises. And, keep it in a locked. California required outside the home to transport weapons in locked cases and things, and with ammunition separately, all those things that you need to do to be a responsible gun owner. But you're going to put yourself into a position where you're going to be ahead of the demand curve when, if I'm correct about 2023 and 2024, when things get more savage, right? You could have government orders by order of the governor, all gun and ammunition sales are suspended, and you don't know what happens. There's a reason why farmers, the old expression, make hay while the sun shines. That I can walk in leisurely now and have a whole display and a whole assortment of weapons to potentially defend myself. And I enjoy the marksmanship aspects of it. And I'm a damn good shot too, which makes me very happy. So I want to tell you, I've not done separate videos, but people said, well, what do you have now? Well, I started out with the Beretta, the 92 FS, which is the standard weapon of NATO, the United States Marine Corps, and a lot of law enforcement. But it's a very, very, very heavy piece. Okay, it's built like a tank. And it needs to be because it has military applications to it. It's Italian. It's finely crafted, and sometimes, truth be told, it gets a little finicky about the ammunition. But in terms of reliability and accuracy, it's a great piece to have. Is it suitable for the average woman? No. Okay? It's too much of a piece. All right, and then the second one I have is the Glock 19 that I recently purchased. I've not done a video on that yet. I plan on doing a video of that and talking about that. The Glock is like the Chevrolet of handguns. And the reason I say that is they're legendary for not failing. When you're in a firefight and your life depends on it, a Glock will be many people's weapon of choice because it doesn't jam, ultra dependable, good accuracy. But it has the downside of it really doesn't have a safety on it. So in a lot of ways, it makes it kind of a little dangerous to carry for the average person, right? Unless you're very proficient and very careful with that, you could potentially shoot yourself. Now, I don't think for me, personally, I decided for my concealed carry. And if you look at the picture here, you can see the size of the guns from the Beretta to the Glock, and then that brings me to the Walther P22, which is a 22 caliber weapon. Okay. Now, the trade-off is the 22 does not have the stopping power of a 45, 40, 9mm, but I have discovered and I have learned over time that the 22, and I just love this Walther for German engineering, is outstanding when it comes to accuracy. I have qualified on all three of these weapons on the range. And truth be told, I am center mass on this one an amazing amount, 80, 90% of the time. I mean, I'm in tight. 15 yards doing headshots, boom, 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 boom. Therefore, in my opinion, you're going to get more metal in the situation and your accuracy is going to be higher. Whereas if you're trying to wield a big piece like the Beretta, you could be very disturbed by kickback that you get. Okay. Whereas on this little Walther, you don't get any kind at all. And it's just, so therefore, because you have a lot less movement when it fires and set up to fire again, a lot less recoil, it keeps you on target and makes you much more accurate. Yes, I'm now going to be legally allowed to carry all three of these pieces. But in my opinion, the Walther P22 could really be more of an effective defense weapon for me and concealed carry weapon than the other ones. Yeah, it's got a few quirks I don't like. The magazine drop is on the back of the trigger here. That's a little weird thing. Right, it has a weird safety thing in the back on it. There's some things that take some getting used to, but I think for a woman, this is really an ideal piece because of the small, lightweight size, the extreme accuracy, and the dependability. And let's face it, it looks like a real weapon, which is very, very important. It doesn't look like a toy when you go out. Yes, it's much more diminutive than the 92, right? But who cares, right? I think it's a great piece to have. It's I'm not compensated by Walther or any seller, but it was about $389, something like that. It comes with 2 magazines, and I picked up an extra one. 22 ammo, pretty cheap, and it's a great piece. I'm going to do a separate video on the Walther. I haven't done the video on the Glock 19 either. I plan on doing that. And of course, the Beretta I've had since 2014 continues to be an outstanding workhorse for me. So, all right. I'm going to wrap that up there now and say make hay while the sun shines. Make your own decision as you will. And I respect anybody that says, Rosie, I can't stand guns. I'm anti-gun. Friend of mine, somebody made a comment. A best friend did himself in with him or herself with a gun. I get that. But, I also, as I said, I live in the real world, where I see what's coming in the future that's all economically driven here, and I don't like the looks of it. Okay? Nobody wants to waste anybody. But if truth be told, him or me, somebody come at me, ghetto, I like my odds. And that's all I'll say on that. So, okay, I'm going to close it out here. Yes, I'm glad all of my 3 guns are qualified for my concealed carry permit. I'm excited. February 1st, I actually pick up the permit, at which point I will never discuss if I'm carrying. You'll never hear me disclose whether I'm carrying or not. You'll never know if I am carrying, what I am carrying. I don't play that game of macho, here I go. Okay, I understand the purpose of for which this type of thing is available. And I would suggest to you, you have things to protect. You be a realist in the future and understand. Even if you don't go through a concealed carry course and you just go to the store, procure one, keep it in your home, find a local range, get a guy that's willing to train you up for $25, $30, $50 an hour. It's going to be the best money you ever spent. You're going to have a lot of confidence. Does it make you a bad person? No. Thumbs up or appreciate, guys. And thank you for being a part of the channel, and Happy New Year.